had already gotten Escargoon just where he wanted him to be, safe and sound sitting down by the tree. He hoped he wouldn't walk off. He wanted to be sure this was perfect. He knew that if he could get this just right, it would be wonderful. He only had one shot at making this an excellent reunion. Kirby began to walk until he heard the loud snores of the Penguin King. Now all Kirby had to do was get him to follow, which might be tough, but Kirby liked the challenge. The king snored loudly, enjoying his nice nap by the tree. He was quite comfortable, until a small little pink puff crawled up onto his stomach.
Boyo,
Kirby said, obviously trying to wake the king. At first, Dedede thought if he ignored him, he could continue sleeping, but that wasn't the case. Kirby began to hop up and down on him to wake him up. He wanted him to wake up, and he made that very clear.
Alright, I get it, Kirby, I'm up,
Dedede said, slowly sitting up and rubbing his eyes. Kirby smiled big as Dedede opened his eyes to see him. Kirby sat in his lap and smiled big.
What do you want from me, you little pink marshmallow?
Dedede asked, looking somewhat annoyed as he continued to rub his eyes. Kirby stood up and pulled on the king's robe as he pointed to where he wanted to go. King Dedede looked up to where he wanted to go.
Over there? Right now? Come on, Kirby, I ain't got the time or the energy to walk all the way over there right now,
Dedede said, sounding just a tad annoyed as he lied back down. Kirby pulled in his robe harder, making his point as the pull alone made Dedede flip over.
Man, for a baby alien, you still are strong as anything,
Dedede said as he gently lifted himself up from his fall. King Dedede looked down to Kirby, who looked quite determined to get him to go to his tree.
Why do you want me to go over there anyway? This tree over here looks just like that one,
he said, looking irritated. Kirby just smiled and began to pull on his arm to follow him there. Dedede let out a large, tired sigh.
Fine, I'll do this. But after, you owe me a meal, Kirby.
Kirby jumped a bit as he walked.
Boyo!
He said, agreeing to a large meal. More for him than Dedede, though. Escargoon gently sat and felt quite relaxed. He had to admit, Kirby left him in quite the nice place. It was quiet, the worry of people forgetting him after so long fading away.
Kirby does know the best place is to forget all his troubles. I'll give him that one.
Escargoon let out as he relaxed.
Though he said he would be right back. It's been a little while now.
He said, sounding somewhat worried for him.
Maybe I should go find the little guy. Who knows what trouble he could have gotten into.
Escargoon spoke to himself gently. He got up and looked around a little bit, though not far from the tree he had been sitting. King Dedede and Kirby finally got to the spot. Kirby had been singing the whole way, and Dedede, well, looked tired as always. From the long walk and Kirby's bad singing, of course.
I mean it, Kirby, whatever you want me to see, it better be worth that whole walking time, cause that was awful!
Kirby looked up to Dedede and nodded in agreement, almost like a promise that it was worth his time. Kirby had looked, but Escargoon was not where he told him to be. Kirby got nervous. King Dedede would be mad if he had no reason to come here. King Dedede looked impatient.
Kirby, why am I here? Nothing here looks important at all!
Kirby had a nervous smile as he looked for Escargoon. King Dedede watched him and tapped his foot anxiously.
Kirby, please don't tell me you brought me here for nothing, cause if you did, I swear it over,
King Dedede threatened, but was interrupted by the one voice he never would have expected to hear in that moment.
Your Majesty,